All right, Nick, you wanted them to put together a good game over a good team yesterday. For the most part, they did it. Did Sunday change your opinion on the Dallas Cowboys?
No, for me, it validated it, that this was the team you could have been seeing throughout the season. This style of play, a dominating run game, a defense that not only is impressive statistically, but eye test and making the critical plays in the critical moments, the linebackers running all over the field, making plays where that might have been their biggest strength on defense going into the year, when Sean Lee, who's the star of the game, goes into the year as your third best linebacker because of the young guys you've drafted. This is who we could have been seeing all year long, Danny, from the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think anyone, even the most pessimistic Cowboys fan or analyst out there going into the year, thought it was possible they would go winless against winning teams. Now, once you lose your first 5, I thought they could lose to the Rams, but even in victory to the Rams, I don't think you are going to be able to duplicate something it took you 14 games, pardon me, to figure out how to do initially. So I felt like we knew the Cowboys at their best, running Zeke, Pollard is a change of pace, Dak taking shots, could be an excellent football team. It's a shame for them it took them this long to put it all together, but no, it doesn't change my opinion that now they're going to be able to do this 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row.
The last time we were here, we were asking the question, is this a good football team? And talent-wise, it's clearly there. And you saw that talent yesterday on full display. Now, then the question becomes, well, how good are they and what can they do? And that's where I don't think anybody's opinion has changed. I would say, when you say it took them 14 weeks to figure it out, if it's truly figured out, and that's very much in doubt.
I agree with you.
Then if you're peaking at the right time, entering the playoffs, that's where I think it gets scary. And that's where I think, a team that could have to go into Dallas to have to win a playoff game, one of those teams, the Seahawks, 49, one of those teams that doesn't win the NFC West, all of a sudden that becomes a place you don't want to go. But this, to Jerry Jones' comment, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. He's right. 44 points, the most points they've had in 5 years.
Right.
28 points in the first half. It's their highest scoring half in 4 years. It was a perfect performance. My only question was, of course, like, where has this been? And you hear about this unbelievable pregame speech that Jason Garrett gave, and you hear about this highlight video that he put together to boost his team's confidence. Well, what took so long? Like, where were these speeches and these motivational tactics after 2 losses in a row, or or after, like, at the beginning of the season? That's what I'm kind of confused by. And is this what we're going to get moving forward?
Or maybe it was just that they used Ezekiel Elliott for what he's supposed to be used for. We keep talking about, did they figure it out? What is it? Is it the fact that they ran more than they passed yesterday, that they used their biggest weapon, Zeke, more than the other weapon they wanted to show off all year in Dak?
It was a dominating rushing attack. Zeke early, Tony Pollard late. They combined for over 250 yards. And while nobody thought they were going to be 250 yards a game rushing, that's, of course, what their identity should have been. Even Dak having his best season as a pro, we know where he is even as he's rising in the quarterback hierarchy. Zeke, they prioritized this offseason. They paid this offseason. And then through far too often this year, they were treating him as a luxury item. Far too often this year, he'd have 12 carries in the first half and then 4 or 5 the rest of the football game. And so, yes, it's easy to run when A, the Rams' run defense was showing no resistance, and B, you're leading almost the entire game, so you don't want to get away from it. But there were games this year they got away from it when they didn't need to. It wasn't always the Packers up 31-3. There were plenty of opportunities they could have fed Zeke and tried to get Tony Pollard touches as well. They chose not to. To me, that put more of a strain on their defense, and the last few weeks prior to this one, it put more of a strain on Dak Prescott.
Dak Prescott is having his best year as a pro to date. He's had really a breakout season, and what he needed it with his contract up for grabs and him trying to get a new deal. But this stat line, 15 of 23 for 212, 2 touchdowns.
That's perfect.
That's what you want. That should be your identity.
Exactly.
And I wonder where they got away from that and when, because yes, it's a pass-happy league. And yes, you want a quarterback who can put you on his shoulders and can carry you down the field. But this Cowboys team is built around the run. It's built around Ezekiel Elliott, and it's built around Dak Prescott. And I hate when the term game manager is used as something negative, because Peyton Manning was the best game manager the game has ever seen. And that's not an insult to him. But you need Dak Prescott to be a game manager who can go out, can manage the game, not turn it over, put you in the right plays at the right time according to what the defense has given you, and that's your recipe to be a playoff, a deep playoff team, not just squeaking, barely getting in backdoor and then getting bounced after one game.
And I agree with that entirely, and that is, and where Dak's at his best, you get the run game going, and then those deep shots open up, and he's gotten much better at those this year than he was last year. But as far as a playoff run, I just still view that as an impossibility. Maybe they'll, listen, I'm not even certain they'll beat Philly next week. Maybe they beat Philly and win the division. They still then would have San Francisco or Seattle coming to their building ready to annihilate them. Like the Cowboys played well yesterday, and they deserve credit for that. But I said Friday if they won 45-0, it wouldn't change my opinion. They tried to win 45-0. They were up to, what, 41-7 or something close to that at some point. But despite all that, 14 games have been played this season. They have a better record in the NFC than Giants, Washington, Lions, Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons. That's it. They have the same record right now as the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Chicago Bears. One great game does not a great team make. It does show you, and I think this will be some of the commentary, what could have been for the Dallas Cowboys, which to me, Danny, is a further indictment on the coaching job that's been done so far this year.
All right, we touched on Dak. Time now for Put a Grade on It, sponsored by CarMax. Dak Prescott kept the high-powered and top-ranked Cowboys offense rolling yesterday. We mentioned it, 212 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Nick, put a grade on Dak's performance.
I'll be quick, Danny. I think you nailed it. I think he gets an A. He did exactly what this game called for him to do. Couple deep shots, the one wide-open play to Tavon Austin. Didn't turn the ball over as the Cowboys led almost the entirety of this football game.
I think